Isn't it interesting how people like Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, and many other politicians and businessmen built such massive empires? Let's put them aside for a moment. How did Elon Musk build a trillion-dollar business? Was it just hard work? Here's where things get uncomfortable. Niccolò Machiavelli, the 16th century thinker best known for The Prince, argued that success in leadership and power depends more on networking than hard work. Because everyone works hard, but very few people build relationships strategically. And networking can give you in 2 years what 5 years of hard work might not. Get this. 1 in 4 professionals doesn't network at all, yet those who do slash their job search by up to 3 months and snag higher paying roles. Don't be the one left behind. Network like your future depends on it, because it does. Let me explain how. Rule 1. Never enter a room without a purpose. A friend of mine once went to a business seminar. He stayed for hours, spoke to everyone, took selfies, collected business cards. A month later, nothing changed. Another guy I know went to a similar event. He didn't talk much. He identified 2 people before entering the room and spoke only to them. 6 months later, he had a partnership and a mentor. Now here's the lesson. Most people enter rooms to feel busy. Strong networkers enter rooms to achieve something specific. Networking without intention is social entertainment, not strategy. Steve Jobs, famous for building Apple, was extremely selective about who he met. Every interaction had a purpose. That focus shaped Apple's entire ecosystem. Rule 2. Talk less about yourself. I've seen people introduce themselves like job interviews. Education, experience, vision. Nobody remembers them. But once, I met someone who didn't talk about himself at all. He asked about my work, my problems, my future plans. That conversation stayed in my mind for years. Why? Because people don't remember information. They remember attention. After the story, understand this. Curiosity is more powerful than confidence. When you make someone feel interesting, you become interesting to them. Real-life example. Oprah Winfrey, famous for her talk show and media empire, built her influence by listening deeply. People trusted her because she made them feel heard. Rule 3. Become a connector, not a collector. Most people collect contacts like trophies. They feel powerful having hundreds of numbers they never use. Years ago, someone introduced me to a person who solved a problem I'd struggled with for months. That single introduction changed my direction. I didn't forget the person who connected us. Here's the principle. Value isn't always what you give directly. Sometimes it's who you connect. Real-life example. Reid Hoffman, famous for building LinkedIn, built his power by connecting people long before the platform existed. Rule 4. Follow up within 48 hours. 2 people meet. One sends a short message the next day. The other waits. Only one relationship survives. I've seen talented people disappear simply because they didn't follow up. Networking doesn't fail because of rejection. It fails because of silence. After the story, remember this. Follow-up is not begging. It's continuity. Real-life example. Jeff Bezos, famous for Amazon, is known for disciplined follow-ups and long-term communication loops. Rule 5. Offer before you ask. I once saw someone ask for help in the first conversation. It felt heavy. Another person once gave feedback on my idea without asking anything. Months later, when he needed support, I didn't hesitate. After the story, the rule is simple. Giving creates psychological safety. Asking too early destroys it. Real-life example. Warren Buffett, famous for investing, built relationships by offering value and mentorship long before expecting returns. Rule 6. Leave conversations early. Most people stay too long. They wait until the conversation dies. Once, I ended a great discussion early. The other person respected me more afterward. Why? Because ending early shows confidence and self-control. Networking isn't about squeezing people. It's about leaving space. Real-life example. Barack Obama, famous for leadership and diplomacy, is known for controlled, respectful exits in negotiations. Rule 7. Move from public to private. I've never built anything important in a noisy room, but I've built a lot through quiet conversations. Events create awareness. Private talks create trust. After the story, understand this. Crowds impress. One-on-one conversations change outcomes. Real-life example. Mark Zuckerberg, famous for Facebook, built early momentum through small, focused relationships, not mass exposure. Rule 8. Track relationships. People say, "I'll remember." They don't. One person I know keeps simple notes. Names. Context. Last interaction. 5 years later, his network still works. This isn't manipulation. It's respect through organization. Real-life example. Bill Gates, famous for Microsoft, is known for systematic relationship and knowledge management. Rule 9. Be visible without being loud. Let me tell you a story. I once followed two people online. One of them posted every single day. Motivational quotes, achievements, opinions on everything. After a while, I muted him. The other person posted maybe once every few weeks. But whenever he posted, people stopped scrolling. They saved it. They shared it. They remembered it. Here's the difference most people don't understand. Visibility is not about frequency. It is about meaning. When you talk too much without substance, people subconsciously downgrade you. When you speak less, but say something useful, people assume you are busy doing important things. After the story, understand this clearly. Networking today is not only physical. It is digital. Your posts, comments, and messages are silent signals of your value. You don't need to show everything you are doing. You need to show how you think. That's how people decide whether you are worth knowing. Real-life example. Naval Ravikant, famous for Angel List and his ideas on wealth and life, rarely posts. But when he does, the internet listens. Low volume, high signal. Rule 10. Play the long game ruthlessly. This rule is where most people fail. I once saw someone help another person when there was clearly nothing to gain. No audience, no status, no immediate benefit. Years later, when situations changed, that same relationship opened doors money couldn't. That's when I understood something important. Networking is not transactional. It is relational. If you approach people thinking, "What can I get?" you will always look needy. But if you approach people thinking, "How can I be useful?" without expectation, you build invisible credit. After the story, let this sink in. The most powerful networks are built quietly, over time, with patience. Some people you meet today won't matter for years. Some won't ever help you directly. Still treat them with respect, because networks don't grow in straight lines. They grow like roots underground. Real-life example. Nelson Mandela, famous for leading the fight against apartheid, spent decades building relationships across enemies and allies. When the moment came, his network changed a nation. Now let me end this properly. If you chase people, you look weak. If you impress people, they listen. But if you add value, they come back on their own. So stop asking yourself, "Who can help me?" Start asking, "Why would someone remember me 5 years from now?" Answer that honestly. Because when you do, networking stops feeling like effort. It becomes leverage. And leverage, quietly, changes everything.